The moment my wife Vanessa asked for a free pass to sleep with her ex-boyfriend, I knew our marriage was over. What she didn't know was that I'd already planned her funeral. Socially speaking, of course. My name is Matt Foster, and up until 3 weeks ago, I thought I had the perfect marriage. Turns out, I was about as wrong as a vegan at a barbecue contest. I'm 39, a project manager for a construction company in Manchester, New Hampshire. Not glamorous, but it pays the bills and keeps our modest 2-story house in decent shape. I used to play hockey in college. Nothing fancy, just Division III. But those days of body-checking opponents prepared me well for what was coming. Vanessa, my wife of 16 years, works in marketing for a tech startup downtown. She's 36, blonde, still turns heads when she walks into a room. At least she used to turn mine. These days, watching her feels like observing a stranger wearing my wife's face. Our son Tyler is 15, all elbows and attitude, but he's a good kid. Takes after his old man with the sarcasm, which drives Vanessa crazy. "Why can't you both just be positive for once?" she'll snap. "Because life isn't a motivational poster, sweetheart." The signs were there, of course. They always are. Vanessa started going out more with her girlfriends, Chloe and Mel, 2 divorced women who treated marriage like a communicable disease. She'd come home late, smelling like expensive perfume and cheap decisions. Her phone became surgically attached to her hand, and she'd giggle at texts like a teenager. "Who's texting you?" I'd ask. "Just the girls," she'd say, not looking up. Right, the girls. Because Chloe and Mel were known for their hilarious late-night comedy routines. Then came the spiritual journey phase. Vanessa started talking about finding herself and exploring her authentic desires. She bought crystals, started doing yoga, and began reading self-help books with titles like Unleash Your Inner Goddess and The Empowered Woman's Guide to Getting What She Deserves. What she deserved, apparently, was a night with Rico D'Amato. Rico was Vanessa's college boyfriend, the one who got away, more like the one who got kicked out for dealing steroids. But Vanessa always glossed over that detail. He'd moved back to town 6 months ago and opened a gym called Flex Appeal. Even the name made me want to punch something. Rico was everything I wasn't. Flashy, loud, drove a red Camaro with racing stripes. He wore gold chains and tank tops that showed off his artificially enhanced physique. The kind of guy who called everyone bro and took selfies at the gym. In other words, a walking midlife crisis. I first noticed something was wrong when Vanessa started running errands near Rico's gym. Suddenly, she needed to shop at the grocery store 3 blocks away from Flex Appeal. She started working out again, not at our local gym where we had a family membership, but at a boutique fitness studio that happened to be Rico's competition. The real kicker came last Tuesday night. I was in the garage organizing my tools when I heard Vanessa on the phone in the kitchen. The window was cracked, and her voice carried. I know, she was saying, giggling like a schoolgirl. But what if Matt finds out? I froze, wrench in hand. Oh, Chloe, you're terrible. More giggling. I can't believe you said that about Rico's stamina. My stomach dropped like a broken elevator. I mean, it's just one night, right? Just to get him out of my system. Then I can settle down and be a good wife again. That's when I knew. Not suspected, not worried. Knew my wife was planning to cheat on me. And she was discussing it like a weekend shopping trip. I finished organizing my tools with mechanical precision, my mind racing. When I came back inside, Vanessa was making tea, humming to herself. Good phone call? I asked casually. Oh, just Chloe being Chloe, she said, not meeting my eyes. The next morning, while Vanessa was in the shower, I did something I'd never done in 16 years of marriage. I snooped. Her planner was sitting on the kitchen counter, open to this week. There, in her neat handwriting, was a list titled Free Pass Options. Number 1, Rick D. Just once, then I can settle down. Number 2, That trainer from the commercial, Jake. Number 3. Maybe someone from work. But Rico was circled in red ink. Her choice was made. I stared at that list for a full minute, feeling something cold and calculating settle in my chest. When Vanessa came downstairs, hair still damp, wearing her favorite blue dress, I was sitting at the kitchen table with her planner open in front of me. "Matt," she said, voice uncertain, "what are you doing?" I looked up at her, smiled, and tapped the list with my finger. "Interesting reading material, honey." Her face went through several colors, white, red, then a sickly green. "I can explain." "No need," I said, standing up. "I think it's pretty clear. You want a free pass to sleep with Rico." She opened her mouth, then closed it, then opened it again like a fish gasping for air. "It's not... I was just thinking about cheating on me with your ex-boyfriend, the steroid dealer." "He's not a dealer anymore," she protested, then immediately realized how that sounded. I laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, well, that makes it so much better. My wife wants to sleep with a reformed steroid dealer. I feel so much more comfortable now." "Matt, please let me explain. It's just that I've been feeling trapped, like I missed out on something, like I never got to explore who I really am." "And who you really are is someone who cheats on her husband?" Tears started forming in her eyes, the same tears that had gotten her out of trouble since we were in college. It would just be one night to get him out of my system forever. Then I could be fully committed to us, to our marriage, without any what-ifs. I stared at her for a long moment. "You know what, Vanessa? You're absolutely right." She blinked. "I am?" "Absolutely. You should definitely sleep with Rico. In fact, I insist on it." You do?" I stood up, walked to the closet, and pulled out her overnight bag. "One night, right? That's all you need." She watched, confused, as I started packing her things. "Matt, what are you doing?" "Helping you follow your authentic desires. Isn't that what your self-help books recommend? Following your bliss?" "I don't understand." I zipped up the bag and handed it to her. "It's simple, honey. You want a free pass? You've got one. I'll even drive you to Rico's place." 20 minutes later, we were sitting in my truck outside Flex Appeal. Rico lived in the apartment above his gym. Convenient for late-night workouts, I'm sure. "Matt," Vanessa said quietly, "I don't have to do this." I turned to look at her, and for a moment she looked like the girl I'd fallen in love with in college. Then I remembered the list, the phone call, the months of lies. "No, you don't have to," I said. "But you want to, and I'm not going to stand in the way of your self-discovery." She got out of the truck, overnight bag in hand. At Rico's door, she turned back to look at me. I rolled down the window. "Don't forget your dignity," I called out. "Oh, wait, you're leaving that in the truck." As I drove home, I called my best friend, Dave. He's been my buddy since high school. Works construction and has a mouth like a sailor and a heart like a saint. "Foster, what's up?" "I just dropped my wife off at her ex-boyfriend's place for a free pass." Silence. "Then what the hell does that mean?" "Exactly what it sounds like. She wanted one night with Rico to get him out of her system, so I packed her bag and drove her over." "Are you having a stroke? Should I call 911? I laughed. The first genuine laugh I'd had in weeks. "Dave, I just handed my wife over to her ex." "Bet you $5 she never sees what's coming next." "What's coming next?" "The most expensive one-night stand in history." I got home to an empty house. Tyler was at his friend Jake's place for the night. A sleepover that I'd encouraged, knowing what was coming. Smart kid like him didn't need to witness his mother's spectacular fall from grace. The first thing I did was change the locks. I'd bought new deadbolts 3 days ago after finding Vanessa's free pass list. Amazing how much you can accomplish when you know what's coming. The second thing I did was call the bank. Joint accounts are wonderful things when you're married, less wonderful when your spouse is cheating on you. Hi, this is Matt Foster. I need to report my wife's credit cards as stolen. Stolen, sir? Well, she's certainly not the woman I married, so someone must have stolen her identity. By the time I hung up, Vanessa's credit cards were frozen, and I transferred our joint savings into an account with only my name on it. Legal? Absolutely. The money was half mine anyway. My phone buzzed. Text from Vanessa. Thanks for understanding. This means everything to me. Back tomorrow morning. Love you. I stared at that message for a full minute. Love you. Right. Nothing says love like asking permission to cheat. I texted back. Take your time. Enjoy your authentic self. Then I got to work. I'd installed security cameras around the house last week. Told Vanessa they were for protection against break-ins. She'd actually complimented me on being proactive. If only she knew how proactive I could be. Next, I moved everything valuable to Dave's house. My tools, our good electronics, Vanessa's jewelry, even her grandmother's china set. Dave helped me load his truck, shaking his head the whole time. You sure about this, Matt? I mean, maybe she'll come to her senses, Dave. She made a list. An actual written list of men she wanted to sleep with. You don't come back from that level of planning. Fair point. So, what's the end game here? I smiled, hefting a box of photo albums. Ever heard the phrase, be careful what you wish for? While Vanessa was discovering her authentic self with Rico, I took a drive to Flex Appeal. The gym was closed, but Rico's red Camaro was parked out back next to a silver Mercedes that I didn't recognize. I parked across the street and waited. Sure enough, 20 minutes later, a blonde woman came storming out of the building. She was young, maybe 27, with the kind of Instagram model looks that suggested she was very familiar with photo filters and strategic camera angles. She got into the Mercedes and sat there for a moment, clearly upset. Then she pulled out her phone and made a call. Even from across the street, I could hear her voice rising. This had to be Rico's girlfriend, the one Vanessa didn't know about. I drove home, made a few phone calls, and did some research. Social media is a beautiful thing when you know how to use it. Within an hour, I knew that the blonde was Lexi Martinez, 27, Instagram influencer with 12,000 followers, and Rico's live-in for the past 8 months. Her latest post was from this morning. Date night with my man, #blessed, #couple goals, #flex appeal. Poor Lexi. She had no idea her man was currently exploring his authentic self with a married woman. I screenshot the post, along with several others showing Rico and Lexi together. Then I created a fake email account and sent Lexi an anonymous message. Thought you should know. Rico's upstairs with a married blonde tonight. Her name is Vanessa Foster. Might want to check on your man. I attached the screenshots of Vanessa's social media posts, including one from last week where she'd tagged Flex Appeal's location with the caption, "New workout spot." The owner is motivating. Then I sat back and waited. I didn't have to wait long. My phone rang at 11:47 p.m. Matt, it was Dave. You need to see this. Check Rico's Instagram story. I opened the app and nearly choked on my beer. Rico had posted a video of himself flexing in the mirror, showing off for the camera. In the background, clearly visible, was Vanessa, sitting on his bed in her blue dress, laughing at something off camera. The caption read, "Late night workout with a special friend. #blessed, #never skipple day." I screenshot the video before Rico could delete it. Then I shared it to a local Facebook group called Manchester Tea Spillers, a gossip group that Vanessa's coworkers followed religiously. My caption was simple. Anyone recognize the married lady in the background? Within minutes, the comments started rolling in. Vanessa's coworkers, neighbors, even some of Tyler's friends' parents. The Manchester social scene was small, and Vanessa was well known from her marketing job and Tyler's school activities. OMG, is that Vanessa Foster? Isn't she married to that nice construction guy? Her poor son. I always thought she was stuck up. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Vanessa. Having such a good time. Rico says hi. Don't wait up. I texted back. Wouldn't dream of it. Say hi to Lexi for me. Who's Lexi? Rico's girlfriend, the one whose bed you're probably sitting on. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally. What are you talking about? Check Rico's Instagram. You're famous. The dots disappeared and didn't come back. I poured myself another beer and settled in to watch the show. By midnight, Rico's Instagram story had been viewed over 300 times, and the Manchester Tea Spillers post had 47 comments and counting. At 12:23 a.m., my doorbell rang. I checked the security camera and saw Lexi standing on my front porch, still in her club outfit, but looking significantly less Instagram ready. I opened the door. You must be Lexi. You're Matt Foster. It wasn't a question. Guilty. I'm guessing you got my email. She held up her phone, showing Rico's Instagram story. And this, your wife, is upstairs with my boyfriend? Ex-boyfriend, I corrected. And ex-wife, technically. She wanted a free pass, so I gave her one. Permanently. Lexi stared at me for a moment, then started laughing. You're serious? You actually let her go to him? I drove her there myself, even helped her pack. That's either the stupidest thing I've ever heard, or the smartest. I smiled. Stick around. I'm betting on smart. Lexi looked at her phone again, where the comments on Rico's post were multiplying. This is all over social media. Just getting started. Your boyfriend isn't exactly subtle about his conquests. Ex-boyfriend, she corrected, echoing my words as of about 10 minutes ago. Good for you. You deserve better than a guy who cheats with married women. She studied my face in the porch light. You're not upset. You're not angry. You're satisfied. Vanessa wanted to explore her authentic self. I'm just making sure she gets the full experience. Lex's smile was sharp as a blade. I like you, Matt Foster. And I think Rico and your wife are about to learn what authentic consequences feel like. As she walked back to her car, I called out, Lexi, if you happen to have any embarrassing photos or videos of Rico, now might be a good time to share them. For closure, she turned back, grinning. I have 3 years' worth of material, including some very unflattering gym shower videos. The Manchester Tea Spillers group would love those. Already uploading. I watched her drive away, then went back inside to check my phone. The comments on the Facebook post had reached 62, and someone had shared it to 2 other local groups. At 1:15 a.m., my phone rang. Vanessa, Matt, we need to talk. I thought you were busy with your authentic self-discovery. This isn't funny. People are commenting on some post about me. Really? What kind of comments? Horrible things. They're calling me names. What kind of names? Silence, then quietly. You know what kind. No, Vanessa, I really don't. Why don't you tell me exactly what they're saying about a married woman who's spending the night with her ex-boyfriend? More silence. Here's the thing, honey, I continued. Actions have consequences. You wanted to act single. Congratulations. You get to experience all the perks of being single, including the judgment that comes with sleeping around. I'm coming home. No, you're not. I changed the locks. You what? I also canceled your credit cards and moved our money to an account with just my name on it. Funny thing about joint accounts, either party can do that. You can't do this. I already did. But don't worry. I'm sure Rico will take care of you. After all, you're exploring your authentic relationship with him. Matt, please. I hung up. At 2:30 a.m., I was woken up by shouting outside. I checked the security cameras and saw Rico's red Camaro parked in my driveway. Rico and Vanessa were standing on my front porch, Rico pounding on the door. I opened the upstairs window. "Keep it down, you'll wake the neighbors." "Open this door right now!" Rico shouted. "Sorry, can't do that. Vanessa doesn't live here anymore." "This is her house too." "Not according to the mortgage. My name only, always has been." Vanessa looked up at me, mascara streaked down her cheeks. "Matt, please, I made a mistake." "No, you made a choice. You chose Rico. So go be with Rico." "Where am I supposed to go?" I shrugged. "Not my problem. You're a strong, independent woman exploring her authentic self, remember? Figure it out." Rico stepped forward. "You can't just throw her out." "Watch me." I closed the window. They stayed on the porch for another 10 minutes, Rico alternating between pounding on the door and shouting threats. I recorded everything on my phone. Finally, they gave up and drove away. I went back to bed with a smile on my face. Tomorrow was going to be very interesting. I woke up to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. Vanessa, Rico, Chloe, Mel, even my mother-in-law. Word was spreading faster than a grease fire in a paper factory. The Manchester Tea Spillers post had exploded overnight. Over 200 comments shared to 6 different groups, and someone had created a meme using Rico's Instagram story. The caption read, "When you're married, but your authentic self is a cheater." But the real entertainment came from Lex's uploads. True to her word, she'd shared a treasure trove of Rico's most embarrassing moments. Rico slipping on a wet gym floor and landing face first in a pile of yoga mats. Rico trying to impress a female client and dropping a weight on his foot. And the crown jewel, a video of Rico practicing pickup lines in the mirror, complete with exaggerated muscle poses and kissy faces. The comments were brutal and hilarious. This is the guy women are supposed to find irresistible. He looks like a Kendall that melted in the sun. I've seen more muscle definition on a scarecrow. My phone rang. Dave. "Matt, you beautiful bastard. Have you seen Facebook this morning?" "Just catching up. Lexi really delivered. Rico's getting destroyed. Someone shared that video to his gym's business page. His clients are roasting him in the comments." I checked Flex Appeal's Facebook page. Dave wasn't exaggerating. The gym's latest post, a motivational quote about being your best self, had been hijacked by commenters sharing Rico's embarrassing videos. "Maybe focus on being a faithful self first," one comment read. "I hear the owner gives special workouts to married women," read another. 1-star review. "Instructor has no integrity and terrible form." But I wasn't done. While Vanessa had been exploring her authentic self, she'd left her laptop at home. Her password was Tyler's birthday, not exactly Fort Knox security. Her email was a goldmine. Months of correspondence with Rico. Starting innocent, but getting progressively more explicit messages to Chloe and Mel about her plans for Rico. And most damning of all, a group chat called The Single Life, where Vanessa, Chloe, and Mel rated men like they were reviewing restaurants on Yelp. The conversation from 2 weeks ago made my stomach turn. "Vanessa, Rico is definitely a 9, maybe a 10 after I test drive him." "Chloe, what about Matt?" "Vanessa, Matt's a good provider, but let's be honest, 6 on a good day. I need some excitement in my life." Mel, so after Rico, then what? Vanessa, then I settle down and play the good wife. Matt will never know what he almost lost. I screenshot everything. Then I printed copies and put them in manila envelopes. One for Vanessa's boss, one for Chloe's ex-husband, who still paid her alimony, one for Mel's new boyfriend, and one for Mrs. Patterson, our 70-year-old neighbor who ran the local church's women's auxiliary and had never liked Vanessa. Anyway, I hand-delivered them all before 10 a.m. At 10:30, my phone rang. Unknown number. Matt Foster, this is Jennifer Walsh, Vanessa's supervisor at TechFlow Solutions. Hi, Jennifer. How can I help you? I received some concerning materials this morning, emails and screenshots involving Vanessa. Oh, what kind of materials? Communications that suggest she's been using company time for personal matters. Very personal matters. I feigned concern. That doesn't sound like Vanessa. She's always been so professional. Mr. Foster, these emails were sent from her company account during business hours. Some of the content is explicit. I'm shocked. Truly shocked. We'll need to conduct an investigation. Vanessa won't be returning to work until this is resolved. I understand completely. You have to protect the company's reputation. After Jennifer hung up, I allowed myself a small smile. Vanessa's authentic self was about to become very expensive. My phone buzzed. Text from Vanessa. What did you do? I just got suspended from work. I texted back. I didn't do anything. You wrote those emails. You went through my private messages. Nothing's private when you leave your laptop open and use our son's birthday as your password. This is harassment. This is consequences. You wanted to act like you were single. Now you get to be unemployed too. Very authentic. At noon, I decided to pay Rico a visit. FlexAppeal was technically open, but the parking lot was nearly empty. Bad reviews and public humiliation tend to hurt business. I walked in like I owned the place. Rico was behind the front desk, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. His usual swagger was notably absent. Matt. He didn't look up from his paperwork. Rico, how's business? What do you want? Just wanted to thank you for helping my wife discover her authentic self. He finally looked up. Look, about last night. Oh, don't apologize. It was exactly what she needed, and what I needed too. What's that supposed to mean? I leaned against the counter, smiling. Means I finally know who I'm really married to, and now everyone else knows too. You're sick. You know that? What kind of man lets his wife? The kind who's smart enough to know when he's being played. Tell me, Rico, how many of your clients have canceled their memberships today? His face darkened. That's none of your business. I'm guessing 12, 15. Hard to trust a fitness instructor who can't even stay faithful to his girlfriend. Lexi and I were having problems, right? And sleeping with my wife was your solution. How's that working out for you? Rico stood up, trying to intimidate me with his eyes. You need to leave. Actually, I need to use your bathroom. Customer rights and all that. I walked past him toward the back of the gym. The men's locker room was empty. No surprise there. I quickly unscrewed the pipes under 3 of the sinks, just enough to cause slow leaks. Then I superglued the locks on half the lockers, making sure to choose the ones that looked most used. In the main gym area, I loosened the bolts on 2 of the weight machines. Not enough to be dangerous, just enough to make them wobbly and unreliable. Then I switched the labels on several of the weight plates, so the 45-pound plates were marked as 25-pound plates. My final touch was in Rico's office. I found his spare gym shirt and used a permanent marker to write, "I he heart married women" on the back in small letters. Then I hung it back up where he'd find it later. When I came out, Rico was dealing with an angry client who'd apparently seen the Facebook posts. Is it true you're sleeping with married women in your apartment upstairs? That's a private matter. It's not private when it's all over social media. I don't want my wife working out here if you're running some kind of service. I walked past them, waving at Rico. Thanks for the workout. Same time tomorrow. Rico's face went purple, but he couldn't respond without making the situation worse. Outside, I called Dave. Phase 1 complete. How's your day going? Better than Rico's. Word is half his clients have bailed. And get this, Someone called the health department about unsanitary conditions at his gym. Really? That's terrible. Who would do such a thing? Gee, I wonder. You're diabolical, Foster. I'm just getting started. That evening, Tyler came home from his sleepover. At 15, he was old enough to know something was wrong, but young enough that I could still protect him from the worst of it. Dad, where's Mom? Your mom is figuring some things out. She's staying somewhere else for a while. Are you guys getting divorced? I looked at my son, tall for his age, with Vanessa's eyes but my stubborn chin. He deserved honesty, but not brutality. Probably, buddy. Your mom made some choices that I can't live with. Is it because of that guy, Rico? I stared at him. How do you know about Rico? Tyler shrugged. Kids at school saw the Facebook stuff. They were talking about it. My heart broke a little. I'm sorry you had to find out that way. It's okay. I kind of figured something was up. Mom's been acting weird for months. How do you feel about all this? Tyler was quiet for a moment. Honestly, I'm kind of mad at her. I mean, we're her family, right? Shouldn't we matter more than some random guy? Yeah, buddy, we should. Are we going to be okay? Just us? I put my arm around his shoulders. We're going to be better than okay. We're going to be honest with each other, which is more than I can say for your mother. That night, after Tyler went to bed, I sat in my kitchen planning the next phase. Vanessa had wanted excitement, adventure, a chance to feel alive again. She was about to get more excitement than she'd bargained for. Wednesday morning brought a new level of chaos. I woke up to find Vanessa's car in my driveway, and Vanessa herself sitting on my front porch, looking like she'd slept in her clothes, which, judging by the wrinkled state of her blue dress, she probably had. I opened the front door, coffee in hand. Morning, Vanessa. Lovely day, isn't it? She looked up at me with red-rimmed eyes. Matt, we need to talk. I thought we talked yesterday. You wanted a free pass? I gave you one. End of conversation. I made a mistake. No, you made a choice. Several choices, actually. The mistake was thinking I'd be here waiting when you got bored with Rico. She stood up, smoothing down her dress. Can I at least come inside? I need to shower, change clothes. This isn't your house anymore. It's half mine. I have rights. I pulled out my phone and showed her a document. Actually, you don't. I filed a restraining order yesterday morning for Tyler's protection. Her face went white. You can't do that. Already did. You're not allowed within 100 feet of this house or Tyler's school. Funny thing about restraining orders, when you can prove someone abandoned their family for an affair, judges tend to be sympathetic. I didn't abandon anyone. I just needed one night. One night that turned into a social media spectacle, got you suspended from work, and humiliated our son at school. Yeah, great parenting, Vanessa. She started crying, the same manipulative tears that used to work on me. Matt, please. I love you. I love our family. You love the security we provided. There's a difference. A police car pulled up to the curb. Officer Martinez, no relation to Lexi, I checked, got out and approached us. Mr. Foster, we got a call about a restraining order violation. That's correct, officer. My wife is supposed to stay 100 feet away from this property. Vanessa turned to the cop. This is my house too. He can't just lock me out. Officer Martinez looked at his paperwork. Ma'am, according to this restraining order, you're in violation. I'm going to have to ask you to leave the property. This is insane. Matt, tell him this is insane. I sipped my coffee. Officer Martinez, I'd appreciate it if you escort her to her car. I don't want any more scenes in front of the neighbors. As Vanessa was being walked to her car, Mrs. Patterson appeared on her front porch across the street. At 70, she was the neighborhood's unofficial information hub, an official moral authority. Morning, Matt, she called out. Everything all right over there? Just fine, Mrs. Patterson. Vanessa was just leaving. Mrs. Patterson's smile was sharp as a razor. I heard she's been exploring new interests. I had to admire the woman's timing. She'd clearly read the materials I delivered yesterday. People change, Mrs. Patterson, sometimes. Not for the better. Indeed, they do. You give my regards to Tyler. That boy deserves better. After Vanessa drove away and Officer Martinez left, I went inside to check the damage on social media. The Manchester Tea Spillers group had grown by 200 members overnight, and the posts about Vanessa and Rico had spawned their own discussion thread. But the real entertainment was happening on Rico's business page. Someone, definitely not me, I swear, had left a 1-star review. Terrible customer service. Owner is more interested in servicing married clients than providing actual fitness instruction. Would not recommend unless you're looking for a home wrecker, not a gym. The review had sparked a dozen responses, each more brutal than the last. I heard he gives private sessions to unhappy wives. My friend saw him with a married woman at his apartment. Very unprofessional. Flex appeal, more like wrecked appeal. Rico had responded to the reviews, making everything worse. These are lies spread by jealous people. I provide excellent service to all my clients. The responses to his response were savage. Yeah, we saw the service you provided. It's all over Facebook. All your clients, even the married ones. That's the problem, buddy. Maybe focus on fitness instead of adultery. My phone rang. Chloe. Matt, it's Chloe. We need to talk. About what? About those emails you sent to people. That was private information. Nothing's private when it involves my wife cheating on me. Vanessa made a mistake. But you're destroying her life. I'm not destroying anything. I'm just making sure everyone knows who they're really dealing with. Her boss suspended her. She could lose her job. Actions have consequences, Chloe. You should understand that. You helped plan this whole thing. Silence. Then what do you mean? I mean, I have screenshots of every conversation in your little group chat, including the parts where you encouraged Vanessa to cheat and helped her plan it. More silence. Funny thing about screenshots, I continued. They make great evidence in divorce proceedings. They also make interesting reading for ex-husbands who pay alimony. You wouldn't try me. She hung up. An hour later, Mel called. Same conversation, same threats, same result. By noon, both of Vanessa's enablers had blocked me on social media and were apparently reconsidering their friendship with my soon-to-be ex-wife. That afternoon, I decided to throw a little party. Nothing fancy, just a neighborhood barbecue to celebrate Tyler's last day of school. I posted about it in our local neighborhood Facebook group. End of school barbecue at the Foster house. All neighbors welcome. Come meet the new improved version of our family. The response was overwhelming. Apparently, the local drama had made me something of a celebrity. Mrs. Patterson was the first to RSVP, followed by the Johnsons from next door, the Martinez family from down the street, and about 15 other neighbors who'd never shown much interest in socializing before. I spent the afternoon setting up tables in the backyard, stringing lights and preparing enough food for a small army. Tyler helped, excited to have something positive happening after the chaos of the last few days. Dad, this is awesome. We never had parties when Mom was here. Your mom wasn't much for entertaining. She wasn't much for a lot of things. At 6 p.m., the guests started arriving. Mrs. Patterson brought her famous potato salad and a wicked smile. The Johnsons brought beer and curiosity. The Martinez family brought their teenage daughter, who was friends with Tyler. By 7 p.m., my backyard was full of neighbors, all of them pointedly not asking about Vanessa's absence, but clearly dying to know the details. That's when Vanessa showed up. She'd changed clothes and fixed her makeup, but she still looked like someone who'd been sleeping in her car. She stood at the edge of my property, technically outside the restraining order boundary, but close enough to see the party. Mrs. Patterson noticed her first. Well, look who decided to show up. The entire party turned to stare. Vanessa tried to smile and wave, but the response was chilly. "Vanessa," I called out. "Come to crash the party?" "This is my neighborhood too, Matt." "Not anymore, but you're welcome to watch from the street." Mr. Johnson leaned over to me. "Is that the woman from the Facebook posts?" "The very same." "Wow, she's got some nerve showing up here." Tyler appeared at my side. "Dad, do I have to talk to her?" The entire party heard him. The silence was deafening. "No, buddy, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do." Tyler looked across the yard at his mother, then back at the party full of neighbors who'd shown up to support us. "Then, I'm staying here with people who actually care about our family." The neighbors erupted in supportive murmurs. Mrs. Patterson started a slow clap. Vanessa's face crumpled. She stood there for another few minutes, watching her son choose his father and their community over her. Then she got back in her car and drove away. The party continued until almost midnight. I learned more about my neighbors in one evening than I had in 16 years of marriage. Turns out, when you're not constantly managing a selfish spouse's drama, you have time for actual relationships. As the last guests were leaving, Mrs. Patterson pulled me aside. "Matt, I want you to know what you did today was important. That boy needed to see that actions have consequences, and he needed to see that he has a whole community supporting him." "Thank you, Mrs. Patterson. That means a lot." Vanessa made her choice. Now she gets to live with it, and you and Tyler get to live without her drama. After everyone left, Tyler and I sat on the back porch looking at the mess of paper plates and empty bottles. "Dad." "Yeah, buddy." "I'm proud of you." "For what?" "For not just taking it. For fighting back. Mom always said you were too passive, but this isn't passive." I looked at my 15-year-old son, who'd grown up more in the past 3 days than in the previous 3 years. Sometimes, Tyler, being passive is just being smart, waiting for the right moment to act. And this was the right moment. This was the perfect moment. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. "This is Rico. We need to talk." I show Tyler the message. He grinned. "What are you going to tell him? That he's about to find out what the wrong moment looks like?" Rico's text had included an address, a bar called Murphy's on the south side of town. The kind of place where the beer was cheap, the lighting was dim, and nobody asked too many questions. I arrived at 9 p.m. to find Rico already there, hunched over a whiskey at the far end of the bar. He looked like hell, unshaven, bloodshot eyes, his usual swagger replaced by the defeated posture of a man whose world was falling apart. "Matt." He didn't look up when I sat down next to him. "Rico, you look terrible. Business not going well?" He laughed bitterly. "Business? What business? I had 12 cancellations today. 12. My landlord's threatening eviction because someone called in noise complaints. The health department showed up this morning because of anonymous tips about unsanitary conditions." I ordered a beer. "That's rough. What did the health department find?" "Leaking pipes, broken equipment, lockers that wouldn't open. Funny thing is, all that stuff was working fine 2 days ago." "Equipment breaks down, it happens." He finally looked at me. "You did this." "Did what? I'm just a construction guy, Rico. I don't know anything about running a gym." "You destroyed my business." "I didn't destroy anything. I just helped people see who you really are." Rico's hands clenched around his glass. "You set me up. That whole thing with Vanessa was a setup." "Actually, that was all her idea. I just gave her what she wanted." "You gave her to me knowing it would ruin everything." I took a sip of my beer. "Rico, let me ask you something. Did you know she was married when you started flirting with her?" "Yeah, but did you know she had a 15-year-old son?" "Yes." "Did you care?" Silence. "See, that's the difference between us," I continued. You knew she was married, knew she had a family, and you went after her anyway. I just made sure everyone else knew it too. She came to me, and you could have said no. You could have told her to work on her marriage. Instead, you saw an opportunity to sleep with someone else's wife, and you took it. Rico drained his whiskey. So, what now? You've destroyed my business, my reputation, my relationship. What else do you want? Nothing. You did this to yourself, Rico. I just made sure there were consequences. Consequences? I'm losing everything. Welcome to what I felt like 3 days ago, except I didn't do anything wrong. Rico stood up abruptly, his stool scraping against the floor. This isn't over. Yeah, it is. You're done, Rico. In this town, anyway. Time to move on. He leaned in close, whiskey on his breath. You think you're so smart? But Vanessa's still out there. Still my problem to deal with. Actually, she's nobody's problem anymore. See, that's the beauty of what happened. You two deserve each other. Rico straightened up, threw a 20 on the bar, and walked out without another word. I finished my beer slowly, thinking about the past few days. 3 days ago, I've been a passive husband, letting his wife walk all over him. Tonight, I was a man who'd systematically dismantled the lives of 2 people who'd betrayed him. It felt good. I got home to find Tyler waiting up doing homework at the kitchen table. How'd it go with Rico? He's done. Business is finished. Reputation destroyed. He'll probably leave town within the week. And Mom? What about her? Is she done too? I sat down across from my son. Tyler, your mom made choices that hurt our family. She's going to have to live with the consequences of those choices. Good. She hurt you, and she hurt me. I don't want her back. The certainty in his voice surprised me. You sure about that, Dad? She was planning to cheat on you for months. I heard her on the phone sometimes talking to Chloe about it. She didn't care about us. She only cared about herself. You knew? I suspected, but I didn't know what to do about it. I reached across the table and squeezed his hand. You did exactly what you should have done. Nothing. This wasn't your responsibility to fix. So, what happens now? Now we build a better life. Just us. Tyler smiled, the first genuine smile I'd seen from him in months. I like the sound of that. At 11 p.m., just as I was getting ready for bed, my security cameras picked up movement in the driveway. I checked the monitor and saw Rico's red Camaro pulling up to the house. He got out of the car, clearly drunk, and started walking toward the front door. I grabbed my phone and called 911. 911, what's your emergency? This is Matt Foster at 247 Oak Street. I have a restraining order against my wife, and her boyfriend is currently trespassing on my property. He's been drinking and appears agitated. We're sending a unit now, sir. Are you in immediate danger? I don't think so, but he's unpredictable. I watched on the cameras as Rico stumbled up to my front door and started pounding on it. Matt, open up! We're not done! I opened the upstairs window. Rico, you need to leave. I've already called the police. I'm not leaving until we settle this. There's nothing to settle. You lost. Go home. This is your fault. All of it. He picked up one of the decorative rocks from my landscaping and threw it at the window. It missed, but the intent was clear. I started recording with my phone. Rico, you're trespassing and vandalizing my property. The police are on their way. I don't care about the police. He tried the front door, found it locked, then walked around to the backyard. I followed his progress on the security cameras, recording everything. Rico tried the back door, then started looking for another way in. He grabbed a patio chair and threw it at the sliding glass door, but the impact-resistant glass held. That's when I heard the sirens. 2 police cars pulled up, and 4 officers got out. I met them at the front door. Mr. Foster, we got your call. He's in the backyard trying to break in through the sliding door. The officers found Rico still throwing patio furniture at my house. He was so drunk, he didn't even notice them until they were right behind him. "Sir, you need to stop what you're doing and put your hands where we can see them." Rico spun around, nearly falling over. "These cops. He ruined my life." "Sir, you're under arrest for trespassing, vandalism, and public intoxication." As they handcuffed Rico, he kept shouting about how I'd destroyed his business and stolen his girlfriend. The officers looked at me questioningly. "Long story," I said. "He was having an affair with my wife. I filed for divorce and a restraining order. He's been drinking and making threats. We'll need you to come down to the station tomorrow to file a formal complaint," one officer said. "Absolutely." They loaded Rico into the back of a patrol car, still shouting about revenge and lawsuits. As they drove away, I noticed several neighbors had come out to watch the show. Mrs. Patterson appeared at my side. Well, that was exciting. "Sorry about the noise." "Don't apologize. That man got exactly what he deserved." The next morning, Tyler and I were eating breakfast when my phone rang. Unknown number. "Matt, it's Vanessa." "What do you want?" "Rico got arrested last night at your house." "I'm aware. I'm the one who called the police." "What did you do to him?" "Nothing. He showed up drunk, tried to break into my house, and got arrested for it. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes." "This has gone too far, Matt. You've destroyed both our lives." "I haven't destroyed anything. You two did this to yourselves." "I want to come home." "This isn't your home anymore." "Matt, please." "I'm sorry. I made a terrible mistake, but we can fix this." "No, we can't." "You didn't make a mistake, Vanessa. You made a series of calculated decisions over several months. You planned this, you executed it, and now you get to live with the results." "Where am I supposed to go? I don't have a job. I don't have money." "Not my problem. I'm your wife. You stopped being my wife the moment you asked for a free pass to sleep with another man." I hung up and blocked her number. Tyler looked up from the cereal. "Was that Mom?" "Yeah, she wants to come home." "Are you going to let her?" "What do you think?" Tyler considered this for a moment. "I think some bridges can't be uncrossed." "That's very wise, buddy. I learned from the best." That afternoon, I went to the police station to file formal charges against Rico. The desk sergeant was sympathetic and efficient. "Mr. Foster, I have your paperwork ready. Trespassing, vandalism, and making threats. With the video evidence you provided, this should be pretty straightforward." "What happens now?" "He'll be arraigned tomorrow morning. Given his behavior in the restraining order violation, I'd expect him to get some jail time and a hefty fine." "Good. Between you and me, sir, you handled the situation very well. A lot of men in your position would have resorted to violence. Violence would have made me the bad guy. This way, justice handles itself." As I was leaving the police station, I ran into Lexi in the parking lot. She looked better than she had a few nights ago, more composed, less angry. "Matt, I heard about last night. Rico really lost it, huh?" "Completely. He's looking at jail time now." "Good. Maybe that'll teach him some consequences." "How are you doing?" "Better. I'm moving back to Boston next week. Fresh start, you know." "That sounds smart." She hesitated, then smiled. "I wanted to thank you." "For what?" "For showing me who Rico really was. I wasted 3 years on that man. But at least now I know." "We both learned something." "I guess." "Yeah, we learned that some people will show you exactly who they are if you just give them the opportunity." As I drove home, I reflected on Lex's words. That's exactly what I'd done. Given Vanessa and Rico the opportunity to show everyone who they really were. I hadn't lied about them, hadn't made up stories or spread false rumors. I'd simply made sure their own actions were visible to everyone who mattered. The rest had taken care of itself. That evening, Tyler and I ordered pizza and watched a movie, something we hadn't done in months because Vanessa always complained about the noise or the mess or the waste of time. Dad. Yeah? Are you happy? I thought about it. 3 days ago, I'd been married to a woman who was planning to cheat on me. I'd been living a lie, surrounded by people who didn't respect me or my family. I'd been passive, accepting, trying to keep the peace at any cost. Now, I was divorced. My son respected me. My neighbors supported me, and 2 people who'd betrayed me were facing the consequences of their actions. Yeah, buddy. I'm happy. Me too. We finished the movie in comfortable silence. Outside it was starting to rain, but inside everything was exactly as it should be. The next morning brought news that made my coffee taste even better than usual. Rico had been sentenced to 30 days in jail, 6 months probation, and a restraining order that prohibited him from coming within 500 feet of my house or Tyler's school. But the real victory came from an unexpected source. My phone rang at 8 a.m. Mr. Foster. This is Detective Sarah Bell with the Manchester Police Department. How can I help you, Detective? We've been investigating some complaints about Mr. D'Amato's business practices. It seems several clients have come forward with allegations of inappropriate behavior. What kind of inappropriate behavior? Intimate harassment, mostly unwanted advances, inappropriate touching during training sessions. We have statements from 6 different women. I sat down heavily. 6 women. Your situation with your wife seems to have given other victims the courage to come forward. They saw the social media posts and realized they weren't alone. I had no idea. Mr. D'Amato has been charged with multiple counts of intimate harassment and assault. He's looking at serious prison time. After Detective Bell hung up, I sat in my kitchen staring at my phone. I'd set out to embarrass Rico and Vanessa, to make them face consequences for their betrayal. I hadn't realized I was also giving voice to other women Rico had victimized. Tyler came downstairs ready for school. Dad, you look weird. Good weird, but weird. Rico's in serious trouble. Turns out he's been harassing other women at his gym. Tyler's face darkened. What kind of harassment? The criminal kind. Good. Maybe now those women can get justice. At 15, my son had a clearer sense of right and wrong than my 36-year-old wife. That afternoon, I got a call from Jennifer Walsh, Vanessa's former supervisor. Mr. Foster, I wanted to update you on Vanessa's employment status. Oh. We've completed our investigation into her use of company resources for personal matters. We're terminating her employment effective immediately. I see. Between you and me, Mr. Foster, several employees came forward with complaints about Vanessa's behavior. Apparently, she'd been bragging about her affair plans for weeks. It created a very uncomfortable work environment. I'm sorry to hear that. Don't be. We're better off without that kind of drama. I hope you and your son are doing well. We're doing great, actually. Thank you. That evening, Tyler and I were grilling burgers in the backyard when Mrs. Patterson appeared at the fence. Matt, dear, I hope you don't mind the interruption. Not at all, Mrs. Patterson. What's on your mind? I wanted you to know Vanessa came by this afternoon, asking if I'd seen you. What did you tell her? Mrs. Patterson's smile was sharp as a blade. I told her that decent people don't associate with adulteresses, and she should find somewhere else to peddle her soba story. Mrs. Patterson, what? It's true. That woman made her choices, and now she wants sympathy from the very people she embarrassed with her behavior. I think not. Tyler laughed. Mrs. Patterson, you're savage. I'm honest, young man. There's a difference. As Mrs. Patterson headed back to her house, my phone buzzed. Text from Vanessa. I'm staying at the motel on Route 3. We need to talk. I showed Tyler the message. What do you think? I think she's had 3 days to think about what she did, and now she wants to negotiate. Smart kid. What would you do? I'd let her talk, but I wouldn't believe a word she said. An hour later, I was sitting across from Vanessa in the dingy lobby of the Route 3 Motor Lodge. She looked terrible. Unwashed hair, rumpled clothes, the kind of desperate exhaustion that comes from having nowhere to go and no one to turn to. "Matt, thank you for coming. You've got 10 minutes. Talk." I made a horrible mistake. The worst mistake of my life. But we can fix this. No, we can't. I know you're angry. I'm not angry, Vanessa. I'm done. She reached across the table, trying to take my hand. I pulled away. "Matt, please. I love you. I love our family." You love security. You love having someone to take care of you while you do whatever you want. That's not true. Really? Then explain the group chat with Chloe and Mel, the one where you rated me a 6 and called me boring. Her face went white. You read that? I read all of it. Your plans to test drive Rico, then settle down and play the good wife. Your jokes about my performance in bed. Your complaints about how I wasn't exciting enough. Tears started flowing down her cheeks. I was just venting. I didn't mean any of it. You meant every word, and now everyone knows it. Matt, I'll do anything. I'll go to counseling. I'll change. I'll be the wife you deserve. The wife I deserve wouldn't have cheated on me in the first place. It was just one night. It was months of planning, followed by one night of execution, followed by 3 days of lies and manipulation. Don't minimize what you did. She was crying harder now, mascara running down her cheeks. Where am I supposed to go? I don't have a job. I don't have money. All my friends have turned their backs on me. That's what consequences look like. You destroyed my life. I documented your choices. There's a difference. What about Tyler? He needs his mother. Tyler needs a parent who puts his welfare above her own desires. That's not you. I can change. I stood up. Vanessa, you had 16 years to be the wife and mother we needed. Instead, you chose to be selfish, dishonest, and unfaithful. You don't get to change now that you're facing consequences. Matt, please. We're done. The divorce papers will be filed Monday morning. Don't contact me again unless it's through lawyers. I walked out of that motel lobby and didn't look back. The next week passed in a blur of legal paperwork and social rehabilitation. Word had spread about Rico's arrest and the charges against him. Vanessa had become a pariah in our social circle. Not because I'd badmouthed her, but because people had seen her own words and actions. Chloe and Mel had distanced themselves from her completely. Chloe's ex-husband had used the group chat screenshots to get her alimony reduced. Mel's new boyfriend had broken up with her after seeing how she'd encouraged Vanessa's affair. The ripple effects were still spreading. On Friday afternoon, I was at Tyler's school for a parent-teacher conference when I ran into Jake Morrison, one of the other fathers. Matt, how are you holding up? Better than expected, actually. I heard about Vanessa and that gym guy. Rough situation. It was, but we're moving forward. Jake lowered his voice. Between you and me, my wife always thought Vanessa was trouble. Too flirty, too willing to badmouth her husband in public. Really? Oh yeah. Lisa said Vanessa was always complaining about you at school events, making jokes about how boring you were. It made everyone uncomfortable. I thought about all the school functions, PTA meetings, and social gatherings where Vanessa had apparently been undermining me publicly. All the times I'd thought we were presenting a united front, she'd been tearing me down behind my back. Well, she won't be doing that anymore. Good for you, man. You and Tyler deserve better. That evening, Tyler and I were eating dinner when he brought up something that had been bothering me. Dad, can I ask you something? Sure. Why didn't you fight for Mom? I mean, try to win her back or whatever. I put down my fork and really looked at my son. Tyler, do you fight for something that doesn't want to be fought for? What do you mean? Your mom didn't make a mistake. She made a choice. She chose Rico over us. She chose excitement over stability. She chose herself over her family. Why would I fight to keep someone who doesn't want to be kept? Tyler nodded slowly. So, you let her go? I let her face the consequences of her choices. There's a difference. And now she's alone. Now she's free to be exactly who she wanted to be, just without the safety net of our family to catch her when she falls. That's kind of brutal, Dad. Sometimes brutal is just honest. The following Monday, I filed for divorce. The paperwork was straightforward: adultery, abandonment, irreconcilable differences. With the evidence I'd gathered, Vanessa's lawyer advised her not to contest it. I got the house, primary custody of Tyler, and most of our assets. Vanessa got her freedom and a valuable lesson about consequences. 2 weeks later, I heard through the neighborhood grapevine that Vanessa had left town. No forwarding address, no goodbye to Tyler. Just gone. Mrs. Patterson delivered the news with characteristic bluntness. "Good riddance," she said. "That woman was poison." Tyler took the news better than I'd expected. "Is it weird that I'm relieved?" he asked. "Not at all. Sometimes the best thing a toxic person can do is remove themselves from your life." "Do you think she'll ever come back?" "Maybe. But if she does, she'll find that we've built a pretty good life without her." And we had. Tyler's grades had improved dramatically once the tension in the house disappeared. I'd gotten a promotion at work. Turns out when you're not constantly managing domestic drama, you have more energy for professional success. The neighborhood had embraced us completely. Mrs. Patterson had appointed herself Tyler's honorary grandmother. The Johnsons invited us to their weekly barbecues. Even the teenagers on our street looked out for Tyler. 3 months after Vanessa left, I was cleaning out the garage when I found a box of her old photos. Pictures of us in college, our wedding, Tyler as a baby. Evidence of a life that had once been happy before selfishness and entitlement had poisoned everything. I carried the box to the fireplace and started feeding the photos to the flames one by one. Tyler found me there an hour later, watching the last of our shared history turned to ash. "Dad, you okay?" "I'm perfect, buddy. Just cleaning house." Literally and figuratively, I laughed. "You're too smart for your own good." I learned from the best. As the last photo burned, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years. Complete peace. The woman who had betrayed our family was gone. The man who had helped her was in prison. The friends who had enabled her had faced their own consequences. Justice had been served, not through violence or revenge, but through the simple act of letting people face the natural results of their choices. Tyler sat down next to me, watching the flames die down to embers. "Dad, yeah, I'm proud of how you handled this. You could have gotten angry, could have done something stupid. Instead, you were smart about it. Sometimes the best revenge is just letting people destroy themselves. And sometimes the best victory is just surviving with your dignity intact." I looked at my 15-year-old son, who had learned more about integrity in 3 months than his mother had learned in 36 years. "You're going to be just fine, Tyler. We both are." Outside, it was starting to snow. The first snow of winter, covering everything in a clean white blanket. Inside, we had everything we needed: each other, our integrity, and the hard-earned knowledge that we were better off without people who didn't value what we offered. Vanessa had gotten her free pass. All right, a free pass out of our lives, and that was worth more than any revenge I could have planned.